What happened to my daughter? I'm in the hospital. When I contacted the mother of my 5-year-old niece, who came alone in the heavy rain, she was in the hospital. I mean, there's only one person who has put my niece in this situation. As a family, we plan to take revenge on the miscreant. My name is Mabel, and I'm 38 years old. My husband, Daryl, who is the same age as me, and I just got married last year. We met through a friend's acquaintance, and our common desire was to have a child as soon as possible. I was 37 years old when I got married. I was already feeling impatient because I was going to give birth at an advanced age, so I started trying to get pregnant right away. However, 1 year later, I still haven't been able to have a child. Our hope, which we were about to give up, was the presence of my brother-in-law's daughter, Wanda. Wanda is 5 years old, and her husband has doted on her since she was born, and Wanda is very fond of him. We have been married for 1 year. I was very good friends with my sister-in-law, Nyla, and I got along well with Wanda very quickly. It all started when Wanda, who has a friendly personality, took an interest in me. To be honest, I didn't have much contact with small children, so Wanda was unknown to me. Wanda immediately missed it with a friendly smile. If my niece is so cute, how cute would it be if it were my own? My husband and I had high expectations. My husband works as the next president of a company run by my father-in-law. It's not a big company, but there are a decent number of employees, and my husband's job is a job in a position of responsibility. I work for a completely different company and have nothing to do with my husband's company. I will continue to work at my current workplace, and I will not work for my husband's company unless he asks me to. I have my own career, so I don't think it's easy to change jobs. My husband is well aware of that. My brother-in-law doesn't work for my father-in-law's company. He said, I don't want to work for a company that I know I can't be president of, and he works in a completely different industry. According to my husband, he is working for a startup company at the invitation of a friend from college. I've heard about what kind of industry it is, but I don't gain a good understanding of it. My brother-in-law works at such a venture company, but he seems to have fallen into a pinch without my knowledge. Apparently, it seemed that the business had been sluggish recently, and the income had been decreasing. As the word "seemed" suggests, I didn't know the direct scene, and it seemed that my husband handled everything. My salary is decreasing and life is difficult, so I need help. It seemed that this had happened several times. Each time, it seemed that my husband, who thought of my sister-in-law and Wanda, was helping him with money. My husband didn't tell me about it at all. It seemed that he was strongly gagged by his brother-in-law. My sister-in-law and Wanda were at the time when my brother-in-law was asking my husband for help, but now that I remember it, it doesn't seem to have changed. However, I was impressed by the fact that my brother-in-law came home late. In the past, there were days when he came home late because he was socializing at work, but he continued to come home later than before. I remember clearly that she consulted me about it. Mabel, what do you think is the point of a man coming home late besides work? I was at a loss for a response to her straightforward remarks. This was because I had to think about something other than work. For the time being, I thought I'd try to answer from a safe place. Is it limited to anything other than work? Yes, because if it's a job, he says it's a job. But lately, he's been saying it's going to be a little late, and he doesn't say why. Isn't this for reasons other than work? Certainly. Why do you give such a vague answer, brother-in-law? I resented my brother-in-law in my heart. If you're a man, you should say why more clearly. If you're so curious, why don't you ask Kieran directly rather than me? Because I don't know why. I wanted to somehow escape from my sister-in-law's questions. That's right, you and men are different. I'm sorry, I'm going to ask my husband directly about this. Phew. I was somehow freed from the attack of questions from my sister-in-law. I just prayed that my brother-in-law would answer my sister-in-law's questions firmly. However, my prayers were in vain, and my brother-in-law's reply did not seem to be a response that my sister-in-law would be satisfied with, and she consulted me again after that. I still don't know why my husband is coming home late. Yesterday he was going to a sauna or something, but I didn't know that he liked saunas at all. Don't you think it's funny? He suddenly got into saunas, which is popular these days. And you say Kieran has a tendency to want to jump on the bandwagon. I wondered why I had to make such an excuse. I know saunas are popular, but I want him to invite me. I want to be in shape, too. That? The direction of the story seems to have changed a little. I was hoping that she would forget about the fact that he was coming home late, but she said, no, so the question is why he is coming home late. I think we have to believe him, Kieran. This was the best I could say to her. My sister-in-law, who seemed to sense that I was doing my best, ended the topic there, although she was not very convinced. After a while, the rainy days continued. And today, the rain was especially heavy. On the night of the heavy rain, my husband had not yet come home, and I was home alone. From the front door, thump. I thought I heard something. My husband would ring the intercom, so what? I wondered if the wind was getting stronger. Just as I was thinking about it, I heard a thump again. This time, I heard the sound completely. I was a little scared, but I headed to the front door. When I opened it a little, I found Wanda soaked. What? Wanda. I hurriedly opened the door all the way and let Wanda into the house. Did she come here alone in this rain without an umbrella? The time was 21 o'clock, a time when it is impossible for a child to walk alone. And yet, when I looked around, there was no one there. Did you come alone? When I asked, she nodded slightly, yes. Anyway, Wanda, who came in such a rain, was cold. I reheated the bath and put Wanda in it. In the meantime, I contacted my sister-in-law. Hey, Naila-chan, Wanda came to our house alone. What do you mean? I said sharply. At such a late hour, Wanda came in soaked alone. Do you mean to say that Wanda went out on her own? It takes about 30 minutes to get home on a child's feet from there. And yet, I was so angry that I said what I wanted to say without waiting for my sister-in-law's reply. Then, my sister-in-law said hurriedly from the other end of the phone. What happened to Wanda? I'm in the hospital right now. What? What did you just say? In the hospital. I was completely panicked. What do you mean you're in the hospital? Wanda came here alone. I'm embarrassed to say it, but the day before yesterday, I fell down the stairs of my apartment in the rain, fell all the way down, and broke my leg. So I was hospitalized for a week. Really, why didn't you tell me? My husband is embarrassed because it's the reason, so he told me that he is going to keep an eye on Wanda for a week. But I should have told you about this. Is Wanda safe? I'm taking a bath right now, and I thought I'd talk to you. Oh, wait a minute. Now that I've come out of the bath, I'll call you again soon, so I'll hang up once. After saying that, I hung up the phone. Then, my husband came home at the right time. When my husband came home, he immediately noticed that Wanda was there. What? Why is Wanda here? And why did she take a bath? He said so when he saw Wanda after the bath. Seeing Wanda's appearance, my husband seemed to notice something. Hey, are there any bruises on Wanda's body? When I looked closely, I saw that there was a bruise on his stomach that looked like he had been punched. Maybe I should calm Wanda down first, and then put her to bed today. What's wrong with this? I asked Wanda gently, but she wouldn't answer with tears in her eyes. While I was doing that, I guess I was getting a series of messages from my sister-in-law. The notification sound did not stop. I was desperately wondering if I should talk about this situation. First, I should calm down Wanda and put her to bed. Then, I'll contact my sister-in-law. That's good. I found the answer in myself, so I tried to take action. Then, I found my husband trembling. I didn't know what it was at the time, but my first priority was to put Wanda to bed. After I gave Wanda some hot milk, I co-slept with her and she fell asleep immediately. I told my sister-in-law, I didn't hear anything today, so I'll contact you again tomorrow, because she is safe here. For the time being, don't worry. At this time, I thought it would be a nuisance to make a phone call while she was in the hospital. I got a quick reply saying, okay, can you bring Wanda to the hospital tomorrow, if you have time? Of course it's okay, I'll definitely take Wanda to the hospital tomorrow. This is where we finally lost contact. My husband, who was trembling, had changed clothes before I knew it and was sitting on the sofa with a scary face. What's wrong? I asked my husband as calmly as I could. Well, there's no reason not to be angry when he sees Wanda who has come this far alone with bruises. The brunt of his anger was directed at one point. It's the same for me. It's Kieran, isn't it? I asked, and my husband nodded. He told me that Nyla was in the hospital, but he was embarrassed about why she was in the hospital, so I didn't tell Mabel. I asked him if he was okay with Wanda, and he said she was fine, so I left him alone. Nothing is going to be okay. My husband's voice got louder and louder, so I told him to keep it down. But when I heard about it, I couldn't control my anger at my brother-in-law. I think it's a new bruise on Wanda's body, so it's definitely Kieran, that's all I can think of. Then my husband told me the truth that he had been silent until now. He was asking me to help him with his living expenses because he was not performing well at work, but from his attitude towards Wanda, he doesn't seem to care about his family. What do you think? Assistance with living expenses. I thought that the words coincided with the fact that my sister-in-law said that my brother-in-law, who had been away from me, was coming home late. Wasn't it about 4 months ago, Nyla told me that Kieran was coming home late and didn't tell me why. I remember it so well that I didn't know what to reply. And I've been told about it lately. My husband's face is getting more and more grim. I'm sure my husband's answer is the same as mine. Kieran's a cheater. Kieran, he is having an affair. At the same time the answer came out. This is a fact that cannot be changed. Next day, Wanda calmed down a bit and told us the story of last night. For a 5-year-old, she spoke well, which was helpful. My dad told me I wasn't needed and punched me in the stomach. It's like he doesn't need me and my mom anymore. Wanda spoke so lonely that I was moved to tears. In Wanda's story, he may have had a child with her cheating partner. I could never forgive him. Today I took a day off work and took Wanda to the hospital where my sister-in-law was hospitalized. In the meantime, my husband seemed to have something to do, and he flew to the company. When I let my sister-in-law see Wanda, she was crying and apologizing and hugging Wanda. Wanda was also caught up in tears by it. I'm sorry, Wanda, Mom was in the hospital like this, don't the bruises hurt? I'm really sorry. My sister-in-law, who kept apologizing, looked very painful. Wanda seemed to sense this, and comforted her sister-in-law, saying, Mommy, Wanda is okay now, don't cry. Then my sister-in-law says that she will never forgive my brother-in-law. Of course, we are not going to forgive my brother-in-law for putting my cute niece through this. However, my husband said that he needed proof to do so, and he said that he only wanted time for a while. I didn't know how long it was, but now that my sister-in-law is in the hospital, I'm sure my sister-in-law can't move, so I decided to do as my husband said. While my sister-in-law was in the hospital, I decided to take care of Wanda at my house. During that time, my brother-in-law never contacted me. That was also one of the factors that fueled anger. My husband seems to have responded quickly with the help of his father-in-law. Eventually, the day came when my sister-in-law was discharged from the hospital. My husband said he had all the evidence. And then the final boss appeared. The whole family was gathered at the parents-in-law's house. Only my brother-in-law had a face that said that he was dull. They all came together for you. And by the final boss, the brother-in-law will be mercilessly beaten. The boss was in the presence of my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is a well-established lawyer who is a corporate lawyer for my father-in-law's company. The mother-in-law, who is the lawyer, finally moved. Of course, to defend my sister-in-law and expose my brother-in-law's crimes. Kieran, you have been violent to Wanda without taking care of her. And you're impregnating your cheating partner. Of course, I'm going to ask for a divorce. Of course, you should pay alimony and child support. But before that, you have to pay for your sins, and I've already reported it to the company you work for. You're a friend of the president, aren't you? But he said that because the company's image was important, he would fire you mercilessly. I know it's going to be hard to raise a cheating partner's child while still paying alimony. There's no one in this house to defend you, so you're going to have to do it alone. The boss mother-in-law said at once. My brother-in-law, who had a dull face, also had a pale face. If he is blamed so much by his biological mother, the damage will be doubled even more. Still, my brother-in-law, who was not going to be able to get away with it, said, Nyla and Wanda, how are they going to live after she divorced me? This punishment, even though I have been nurtured so far. It's impossible. Then my sister-in-law said, which one is impossible? You're going to have to give me a wish, he said. It was a rough tone that I couldn't think of from my usual tone. And my mother-in-law said, Nyla will work in my office, so it's okay, and I'm going to pay her enough salary to live with Wanda. It's not something you're worried about. In this way, the brother-in-law was exterminated by the final boss. My husband and I didn't have a chance to play it all. The story after that. My sister-in-law was paid $30,000 each from her brother-in-law and her cheating partner. She is going to receive $500 a month for child support, but my brother-in-law will go to jail. Because he was arrested on charges of violence and abuse of Wanda. It won't come out for a while. In the meantime, what is he going to do if he has a child with his cheating partner? He didn't have any plans, he just enjoyed himself. Even if he comes out of prison, nothing but hell will await his brother-in-law. On the other hand, the sisters-in-law started working in her mother-in-law's office. It seems that she often dives into the specialized field of a lawyer's office to study, but he seems to be doing his best. She said that she would do her best to live with Wanda from now on. And my husband and I also had our long-awaited child. When I told Wanda that I was going to have a child soon, she happily asked, "Can I be a big sister?" And I asked her to be a big sister and protect her. I would like to do my best to live a peaceful life for the sake of the smiles of the children who will be born in the future, Wanda, and the children.